Ready.
All right. Hi, everyone. This is Donna McDonald. So excited to have you here with us December 20th, 2018. And we are here for our leaders call, even though this is typically a director call. We had such an awesome speaker that we all gave you the opportunity to invite a guest so that you can hear this great ideas that we'll be sharing. Those of you that are directors on the call and maybe haven't jumped into the virtual world, Steve's going to share lots of ideas with you. If you are a director that is totally, a virtual, run a virtual business, think about what are the things, these actions that you can apply to team members. So listen with an open mind. I hope you all have paper and pencil there in front of you, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Janine and Steve.
Okay, Dawn, I'm trying to make my face come back on, but look, I can't do it. Oh, what a shame.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, I can. Hold on. Okay, so you guys, you all know we love our business and how we can do it anywhere. Well, hello, I'm at the hairdresser. Even Dinah's laughing hard. She had to change her appointment. What can I say? So I'm doing this from my car with a wet head. But I'm so excited, you guys, and Donna, you can quit laughing now. Because at ExecSem, I got to see Steve, and it's so funny. His real name is Steve Drapowski, but I know him as Stephen Joseph on Facebook. But I kept seeing him go up for award after award. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is amazing. And then I was lucky to get to have some apps with him and several other people at the airport. We had so much fun. I got to know him a little bit, and he is an awesome guy. He's so funny and willing to share and help. And I was so excited that he agreed to join us today. But you guys, listen to this. He started Pampered Chef in July of 2016. So he's only done this 2.5 years. He promoted to executive director July 1st of this year, and he unofficially met his month 3 requirement for senior executive just this month. He met that on the 18th. So let's give him a huge woohoo! Yeah, very exciting. Now listen to this. In 2.5 years, he has almost 400,000 in career sales. He was a Founders Award recipient at conference in 3 categories, and he earned Hawaii Level Elite at the beginning of May of this year. And he already has over 240 consultants in his organization. So Steve, we are so excited to have you here. Thank you so much. And we talked about, I know they just kind of are going to want to know how you do your virtual parties. And then we'll kind of move into how you built such a big team in such a short time through your virtual parties.
Sure.
All right.
So sorry about that blip. I went off, my computer just shut off for a second, so that was why I disappeared. I'm super excited to be here. Thanks so much for the invite. This kind of stuff, I love to do this kind of stuff and just share ideas and with other consultants and leaders. So I think Donna had sent Janine a couple questions that you specifically wanted me to go over. So I have all that planned out. And then I'm happy to answer any other questions that anybody has. I understand there'll be a Q&A period. So the two biggest things I can attribute my success and the success of my team to, in terms of all of us having a virtual business, and again, pretty much everybody on my entire team is all virtual because that's how I met all of them, and so they realized that they could do it, and that's what they wanted to move forward with. Now, some do cooking shows, but that's very, very few people do them. And the two things I would say that I attribute our success to, the first is authenticity. And the second is customer service. Now, these two things may be nothing new to you, but I find sometimes when we hear something from somebody else, we are able to unpack it and think about it maybe in a different way and realize maybe what we're not doing or what we could be doing better. And I'm constantly reevaluating this myself, and you all should be as well. So authenticity for me has been really important because you really want to create that experience in the online party that you are a real person just like them, and that you have challenges in the kitchen, these products that you're showing off, or you use them to meet those challenges. And you're not some magical unicorn that has all the answers. You've discovered these things and why they work because you're a real person. So oftentimes I know that we will share templates for whatever posting system we use with our team members. What I would encourage you to do is to and some of you may or may not have the time for this, but I think it's really important, is when I share an outline with a consultant, I have them edit the outline, the anecdotal language, to be authentically them, whatever that is. And then I have them reshare it with me so that I can actually see that they went through and edited it to be authentically them, whatever that is, without me being present anywhere in the template. Because sometimes they'll say they did that and they didn't do it. And then they're not really presenting themselves, which means they're not going to get people to book shows, they're not going to have people interested in the business, and they're not going to have long-term customers that maybe don't want to do either. So the authenticity piece is key for me there. The other thing is the customer service aspect. And guys, how many of you have purchased things on Amazon and all Amazon does is say, you've spent $400 on a TV, here's another $400 item that you would probably like as well. There's no added value, there's no relationship building. And so the real opportunity for us in online parties is to create a dialogue that's just like an in-home party. Really what you want to do with your experience that you create, and many of you know that Home Office has said from survey results that the experience is the biggest kind of disconnect for guests and online parties and even hosts, is that you want to bring that in-home party experience into a virtual party. And people think you can't do that and you can't form relationships, but you absolutely can. But it's all about the effort and the willingness that you want to put towards doing that in an online party. So those two things are really paramount for me and for our organization. People will buy Pampered Chef in spite of you. They will book, they will join your team, or they will become a long-standing customer with you because of you. Okay, so that's really why those two elements are super important. So a couple things that I know Janine and Donna wanted me to touch on. In terms of when you're starting your new consultants off and they say they want to do a virtual business, right? And all of these things I'm going to talk to you about, I'm happy to share the documents with your team so that you can use them versus me just telling you what to do and not providing you with any of the language. Because sometimes we just need the language to be able to put something into place to add it to our business and how we run it. So our team onboards consultants with a 4-call process. The first call is green dotting, goal setting, and my why. That's like the name of it. And that happens within 24 hours of them signing up. We have that first call, and again, I'll share all these documents with you. The second call is where we go over how to set up the party on the back end, how to set it up on Facebook. We talk about how our team is a team that recruits and sells, so they don't really have the option to choose, right? We tell them that's what we do. And then some other, I talk about their 30-day, 90-day, those kind of administrative things. The third call is the next week when they're closing their first show or shows, where it will be the same night that I am closing a show of my own, so I can walk them through exactly how to do it and what they should be cognizant of, what they should be looking for. And then the day after that third call, we do a post-mortem of their show or shows. What do they think went really well? What do they think they could do better? What questions do they have that maybe I didn't answer? Those kinds of things. And one thing that Janine and Donna wanted me to touch on is what message do I provide with my new consultants to use to get their first parties? We obviously encourage them to green dot first, and you guys have probably heard this a million times, but the language that I use to give to them is basically, and again, this is in these documents I'm happy to share, I would say to send to somebody on their list on the right when you log into Facebook, the people that have a green dot, it would say, hey, Janine, I hope you're well. I'm so excited I just signed up to sell Pampered Chef. They have high quality kitchen gadgets that make mealtime much easier and so that we can get people around the table, just spend more time together. I'm looking for my first online party host. All you have to do as an online host is add friends to a group that I create and post once a day, posts that I will send you so that it takes 5 seconds of your time copying and pasting a day. Most hosts earn $100 in free product and 3 half-price items from their couch, no cooking or cleaning required. And I have this date and this date to start. What do you think, smiley face? Okay. Now, what that does is that creates the idea of hosting the first, one of the new consultants' first parties. You have to do very little. You're going to get a lot. You're going to be helping me out. And here's when you start. If you don't give them a date, they'll tell you they'll get back to you and you'll never hear from them again, which we know, right? So if they pick a date, then that's, even a tentative date, that gives us the ability to feel comfortable following up with them and not being pushy. I'm sure many of you have heard that a million times. I don't want to bug my friends or whatever. This gives you a reason to be able to feel comfortable following up. So that's the language that I will use to give to have my consultants get their first parties booked. And then in my parties, do I use home office posts? No, I do not. So they're a little too polished for me. And this goes back to the authenticity piece. The key to running a virtual business, it's just like when we share our story, right? Our story has to have content that is relatable and authentic, right? Because then people will see that they can either host a party, they can book, or they can be a long-term customer, right? In the case of, when I do my shows and I'm curating, again, my experience and my template, I pull graphics and images from all of those Facebook groups that people have like way more time than I have to like play and go and create things. But I'm very intentional about the structure of my party and what I want to do each day during the party to get the results that I will end up hopefully getting. And I'll go over what my party looks like, how it's structured, and all of that in a little bit. I use Post My Party. My parties are 7 days. And I know that's, again, like a home office no-no, but for me, I always survey my guests after every party, my guests and my hosts. I ask them questions like, was the party too long? Did you feel like you saw enough of the products to make an informed purchase based on your needs? Did I share enough about the business opportunity? So everything I do with my business has nothing to do with what I think is right. It has everything to do with what the customer thinks is right. When I first started in my first 3 months, I kept seeing people post about having $1,000 parties, and I was like, well, I think I'm doing everything right. I think that I'm posting the right content. I think that my party is not too long, but I realized that I had to actually have that confirmation whether or not I was going to like the feedback from my guests and my hosts. The minute I started taking their feedback into account about things like the length of my party, was I sharing enough about the business? That's when the next party I had was a $1,200 party. Once I listened to the people that are in the parties, suddenly, because we can get stuck, right? Doing things the way we think they should be done, but we need to be listening to them to get their feedback. So my parties are 7 days. At one point they were 10. I can't believe I'm saying that now. 10 days, then they were 8, then they were 7. 7 has seemed to be the sweet spot. I went down to 5 for the holiday season to front load my parties before the cutoff. It just feels icky to me. It's too short. I don't feel like I'm doing justice for the products and the business. So I like 7-day parties. The first 2 days of my party are pre-party. So there are no products. I mean, there might be a product in like a recipe picture, but I'm not pushing any products. And my parties start on Fridays. So Friday and Saturday are pre-party posts. It's all engagement. You have $20 and 6 people to feed. What do you make? Sound off for a ticket to the grand prize or the pre-party prize. Share the recipe, get another 5 tickets. Then you want to make sure, and this is the customer service piece I mentioned, the authenticity. I'm commenting on every single comment. If somebody comments, I respond, and then if somebody else comments, I respond to them. Literally, I'm all over every single post. And that probably sounds like a lot of work, but it should be a part of your daily power hour that you should have to work your business and part of what we call your income generating activities. Because guys, that is a big income generating activity. Okay. So other posts like, what's your biggest kitchen disaster? Sound off for a ticket, a ticket to the pre-party prize. All of these things that would be conversations perhaps that would be happening at a in-home party. right? It's just like you're creating relationships. I'm letting them know I'm a real person. Oh my gosh, you have, I hate it when the water boils over. That's why I love our blah, blah, blah product. You know, so those kind of things. And then the last 5 days are all are themed product days. So the first day is gadgets. The second day is what's new with Pampered Chef. The third day is bakeware. The fourth day is stoneware. And the last day is my favorite things. So what I'm doing there is I'm curating an experience that kicks off with fun and engagement. I'm giving them the meat and potatoes in the middle. And then I'm wrapping it up with closure by saying, oh, by the way, I'm a real person. Again, just a reminder. And I use these products. And here's what I use them for and the ones that I love. So that then it's just like host coaching, right? There's a beginning, a middle, and an end to host coaching. It's the same with the show. You want, and that's again, one of the biggest problems with that home office has found is that these people feel like they're put into a party that has no rhyme or reason. They don't know when it ends or begins. And so you really want to make sure that, and it's just like with onboarding a consultant, it needs to be a holistic experience from beginning to end with your online party. Okay. Let me see my notes. How many parties do I book? How many do I hold? So up until last month, I was doing around 25 parties a month. November was the first time that I booked 40. I wanted personally to work to grow my personal team more. We've been very fortunate that we've had a lot of growth over the past 6 months. But that is like depleting my personal team. So I thought, well, they're not going to come out of thin air. So if I want to welcome more people, I need to be booking more shows. And so I did just that. And then, and I'm a big numbers person. And if you're not, I advise you to become one, because this business is about relationships, but really the numbers don't lie, guys. So I am constantly evaluating my numbers. So when one of the questions I was asked was how many hold, I love those kinds of questions because I'm always looking at those kind of things. So I went back over the past 3 months and shows that didn't hold or they didn't qualify, like somebody canceled or didn't qualify, 94% of my shows held. Okay. I attribute that to host coaching when they book the party. So when they book the party, that's when my host coaching starts. Okay. I put the host right in that minute when they book in a really good party that's closed and a really bad party that didn't qualify. And I tell them to scroll the good party. I look at Mary's party just really quickly. Let me know some things that you recognize. So I'm not telling them what to look for. I'm telling them to look for what they think was what happened in the party that warranted the success of it. So that then Mary might say, whatever, the upcoming host might say, oh, well, it looks like Mary posted, once a day. She commented on the game, tagging her friends. She recommended certain people for products they might like. And I say, okay, great. Thanks for sharing. Now let's take a look at Beth's party and tell me what you see in Beth's party. She's like, well, it's the complete opposite. I'm like, bingo. Which host do you want to be? Do you want to be the one that signed up to earn stuff and actually earn stuff? Or do you want to be the one that signed up to earn stuff and earn nothing? So what you're doing there is you are setting the bar for the host to realize that you as the consultant, you're here to help them get whatever they want to get out of this. And this is what you need to do to get the maximum ROI for your work. Okay. And you may feel like, oh, that's not my personality. Like I wouldn't show off a good and bad party. Guys, you got to get over it. I'm telling you, I'm a very real blunt person. It has done wonders, because what happens then is every time I check in with the host before my really intense kind of week of host coaching starts, the week of the party, then they remember, oh, that's Steve, my Pampered Chef guy. Oh, I know what I need to do to make sure that I don't earn nothing. It's like subliminal in their mind. Like I've planted the seed and now they're always going to come back to it and remember what they have to do. Okay. So to that point then, in terms of the reason why I think I have that rate of the parties holding is because, again, they're less likely to cancel when they feel that I'm invested in helping them earn stuff, and they're more likely to work for me when I ask them to do things, to book me future parties, to recognize people that might want to be a consultant. Who do you know in your party that maybe was looking for a part-time job or might be struggling financially? Because those kind of recommendations for them to help me get bookings or for them to generate leads for me is going to go further because those people have some sort of connection with the host, whereas they don't really know me from the cable guy. Now, by the end of the party, they'll know me better, hopefully, and they'll feel some sort of rapport. But the host, whether they've talked to these people for 5, 10 years or the day before, they are the closest connection to help you get the ROI that you want, right, to help to continue to propel your business forward. Okay? How do you manage 40 parties? Okay, so guys, if you don't have a system for everything in this business, come up with one. And you don't have to use mine. And again, I'll share what I do with you. But systems allow us to work smarter and not harder, and to recognize the areas that we need to improve upon, and then give us the time to be able to do that. Versus kind of going willy-nilly into it, oh, I have to set up my parties, I'll get to it when I get to it, versus saying, here's when I do X, Y, Z, right? And not recently, I use a Google Calendar, so everything that I do is I set in my Google Calendar, so I always get like a half-hour reminder beforehand. So like on Tuesday, the week of my parties, that's when I set up my parties on the back end, that's when I set them up on Facebook. So I'll get a reminder that says, Steve, stop what you're doing and set up your parties. And then I'll know, okay, I got it. And you want to organize it in a way so like if you need to be at a computer for XYZ things, you don't want to schedule 10 to 10:30 to do something at a computer and then 1 to 1:30 to be at a computer. You want to put it all together so that you're maximizing and being intentional with your time at said computer. Okay, now I am a little old school just in this way, which I have a book that I keep all my parties listed. I don't have like a calendar or anything. Like I just like the idea of like crossing it off when I'm done with it. So I have like January 5th start date, and I have these 10 hosts, and then January 12th, all these hosts. And I just like to look at it that way. I'm a very visual person, because then I can see like, okay, I have a hole here. I really like to have 10 parties and I have a hole. So I need to make sure that my concentration is that I'm being intentional about showing off why the host special in X month is so great versus February. Right? Let me see. Oh, and included on that Google list, the Google Calendar is like, take a half hour to respond to guest questions and comments in all the parties, or posting game results or whatever. Like I was really bad before about like living in my parties all day long. And this is back when I had a full-time job. So like I was literally getting nothing done at work. Okay. Because I was so excited. Like this is like I'm excited about. So I had to really be intentional and say, Steve, you are not using your time as well as you could be because you're all over the place. I was getting everything done, but now, especially in the past 6 months, I've been able to focus my attention. Yes, I'm still focused on my personal business, but now that I have that streamlined and kind of running itself, I'm able to focus more time on developing leaders and, coming up with training for my team and coming up with a calendar like the month before so everybody knows when all the trainings are and they can plan to attend. Like never before did I have that time until I put systems into place. So that's what I have in terms of written out.
Okay. So Steve, you obviously do a lot of recruiting through your parties because your team has grown so fast. What do you attribute that to, if you could name a few things?
Well, so if you personally don't set recruiting goals and share them with your organization or your team, no matter how big or small, nobody's ever going to know what you're working towards, and they're never going to know that that's something that you should be focused on. So I'm speaking to this first at an organizational or team level, and then I'll talk like personally. But back in January, which is really when all of our momentum started, I realized that our team name was Stephen Joseph's All the Sales Superstars. Nowhere in that name was recruiting. So what I was putting forth to my organization was that we are an organization that sells, and that's it. I also wasn't introducing the idea of recruiting in the onboarding process when I was saying, here are some things you should be looking for potential recruits. Our team is a team that recruits and sells. I wasn't offering any training on recruiting. So how can I expect they're going to either have an interest or know what to do if I am not actually training them on how to do it? And then also I started incentivizing them for recruiting and not just selling. So, and you'd be surprised, like you think the idea of a name change is not a big thing, but literally all of a sudden everyone started asking me about recruiting. And if I hadn't done, and what I posted in our team page was, hey guys, with the new year, you know, things are constantly evolving and changing in life, and we are the exact same way. So I would like us to have a redo and a rebranding of what this team is all about, who's with me. And then I said what that looks like. And once you put that out there, it's like any goal, you know, where people understand they're part of something bigger than themselves. People want to be a part. They want that. They want to jump on board with that. I mean, most of them, at least that's how it works for us. Now, in terms of personal recruiting, I set a goal for myself every month. I always go, it's just like with booking my schedule, it's always above and beyond what I think is I'm actually capable of doing. Because if I go bigger, I'm more likely to hit that or get close to it versus if I lowball myself. So it's just like a new consultant. When they tell me that they only want to make like $200 in fund money, I say, well, actually, you can easily make $200 in fund money times 4. So we're going to go ahead and have you book X number of parties because I don't want you to lowball yourself because I know you're worth more than that. Right? Sometimes people just need to feel supported and championed in that way in terms of, you know, when you're onboarding them. But for personal recruits, I set a goal of myself every month for 5. Now, home office says 2 a month, but for me, I knew that with the goals that I wanted to achieve for our team, that I have to lead by example because I can't expect anybody else to do anything if I'm not performing at a higher level than what I'm asking them to do. So for me, I set a personal recruiting goal for myself for the year, and then I moved in that direction of, you know, working to achieve that. Now, some of the ways I do that in my parties, so of course I have the business posts, right, in your parties where people can earn tickets to, you know, if they comment. And then what I do is every single person that comments, I reply to them. I thank them for their comment. I respond to it so that everybody else can see it in the party. And then I tell them I'm sending them a fun message. It's hiding in their message request folder. You know, check it out, whatever. And now, does everybody see those messages? No. But if I didn't send it to every single person that commented, if I didn't like go out on a limb and just do it, I would never have the ROI that I've had. So, and sometimes when I message somebody, I say, thanks so much for participating. You know, it's people like you that make these parties successful. Did you just want tickets to the game, to the prize, or were you actually interested in learning more? 90% of the time they want the tickets, and there's no shame in that game, right? But I say to them, would you be willing to hear more about what I do? 90% of the time, they're willing to hear more, and I can't tell you the number of people that once I unpacked how easy it is to do this, they decided to sign up. And the conversation with a person in that way, because you don't know them, right? You want to be doing 10% of the messaging. You want to be asking open-ended questions so that they are doing 90% of the talking. Questions like, you know, you've been really active in the party. What's your favorite part? So then they might comment, oh, well, I really like the games. It's really fun to win a prize every day. And I say, well, you know, this is like what I love to do. I love people to have the opportunity to win prizes. And, you know, it's talking about fun. Like my whole team was just one big bowl of fun. Like that's all we are all about, right? Then I would say, how do you know the host? So they might say, oh, well, I work with Mary. We've worked together for 20 years. Oh, what profession are you in? I used to work in blah, blah, blah before I left my job October 5th because of Pampered Chef. So then she'll share what her job is. And then whatever her job is, her or his job is, will inform me about where to take the conversation next, right? So they might say, oh, I work for the Department of Defense. I work like 70 hours a week. I'm so exhausted. Chances are they probably make good money. So I'm not going to lead with what money they can make doing this. I'm going to lead with the angle of, wow, that's really demanding. I bet you would love something like just to like kind of de-stress and like for it to have fun. Then I'm going to lead with what we're all about in that angle. Now, if somebody says they're a teacher, as we know, teachers are very underpaid. So my sister's a teacher. So I'm going to go ahead with the angle of, oh my gosh, you know, that's such a, you know, we're rewarding profession, but you know, I know that teachers don't really make all that much because my sister is one herself. What could you do with an extra $400 a month from your couch? Or if it's somebody that says, I'm a stay-at-home mom and I used to work and I wish I could contribute to the household income, but I have 4 kids and I homeschool them and there's just no way. Then I'm going to lead with the flexibility of the business and how they can work when they want to work. I provide you with the tools. We set a goal for you, and then you work to achieve that every month. So it really is a dance. And you don't, and I had a big problem with like word vomiting when I started. I was just so excited that I was just like sharing, oh, it's amazing. You got to do it. And people are like, whoa, they don't want any of that. Right. So you really have to be, it's really more listening and responding than like rapid fire. Here's why is amazing. And then in terms of my hosts, I recruit them by sharing the business opportunity with them. And you've probably heard this, but 5 times, 3 directly and 2 indirectly. The 2 indirectly are, when I have them do one of their daily host posts, which is about ask Steve about the business, and then I have the host kick it off by asking the question first. And then the other one is when I have a business post that it's in my template, which is on day 1. And then I also tag the host and say, kick it off with a question. So then their wheels are turning whether they like it or not. Okay. And then the 3 direct ways are when the party begins and I message them, I put all my hosts in a group message on the first day of the pre-party, and I tell them, here's your daily post, make sure you're engaging, and I say, oh, and by the way, watch what I do to run your parties, in parentheses, how little I do, you can do what I do just as easily, and you can earn, most of my new consultants are earning $400 plus a month from their couch, and we can flip this party to be your launch party if you decide you want to do this as well. So that's the first time for the host. The second time is in the middle of the party when I will personally message the host and say, hey, Mary, I hope you're having fun. And then depending on where the sales are, I would say, oh my gosh, you're already at $500 in party sales. Did you know that as a consultant, you would make $100 off of this party from your couch doing practically nothing? And then I would be like, hashtag just something to think about. Now, if the party's sales aren't where you want them, sometimes it's at the end, they all come in. I will send a copy of my first paycheck as a consultant, my first full month to the host, and I'll say, just wanted to remind you that, we make real money doing this as consultants. This is my paycheck for my first month in the business, hashtag just something to think about. I am not afraid of showing my paycheck, and you should not be either. People need to understand that we make real money doing this. So that was a really long-winded answer, but hopefully that.
No, I love it. I love how you shared with us the different ways that you respond. So most all your recruiting is done through messaging, correct?
Yeah, I don't do phone calls. Now, if I have a team member that has a lead, then sometimes I'll offer to do a 3-way message or something. But I find that messaging is just so much less intimidating than on the phone or in person. And honestly, if they want to run an online business, they really probably don't want to meet up with me or call me, because we're going to be primarily engaging if they join my team on Messenger.
Right.
So.
Well, Steve, you covered everything so beautifully. Oh my gosh, I want to watch this 10 times. But I know people probably have questions. Sure. Donna, you want to open it up for questions?
Sure. So if you have a question, if you want to just type in the chat box that you have a question, and then we can call on you individually so everyone doesn't pop in together. So.
Seriously, Steve, you covered everything so great. I can't thank you enough.
Oh, sure.
So I'll start out, Steve. So your host coaching, that one conversation that you had was, which host do you want to be? So you're private messaging that conversation with them. So you said, I added you into, 2 parties, take a look. I mean, do you just assuming they're looking at the party?
Well, I mean, another thing I'm infamous for is I have no problem with following up and being like, so what's happening? Have you looked in there yet? So you have to be that way, right? It's just like when you're green dotting, when you're starting, when you message somebody and they see your message and they don't respond, I'll be like, I'm going to follow up with you because I'm going to assume if they haven't responded no, that they still want to do a party. They just haven't gotten back to me or been able to yet. So it's the same thing with the host. I will follow up and say, did you get a chance to look at those yet? And sometimes it's not immediate. Sometimes it might be later in the evening, right? Because maybe they're at work and they jump offline or whatever. But normally, normally I don't have issues.
Okay, great. All right, so here's some questions from Kim. Kimberly, are you running them through groups? I'm assuming.
Yes, yeah, I do mine through groups.
Okay, all right. And Cindy said, you mentioned a post-mortem call on how the show went with your new consultants. Is that a one-on-one call?
No, so I always onboard 2 consultants together. The 2 consultants that sign up, I mean, hopefully it works out that way. Normally it does, but I mean, if it's only one, it's only one. But I try to onboard 2 new consultants together because then they have an accountability buddy so that they feel like they have a friend in this when they start. So like, then it's less likely for one of them to, oh my gosh, hold on. Okay, she will call you back, Lori. Goodbye. Sorry, I'm at my parents' house, so let's just call you. Okay. So anyway, so what was I saying?
So
you do two at a time, yeah.
Oh, I do 2 at a time because I find that they have an accountability buddy so that they're less likely to drop off because they don't want to leave their friend. And then they have somebody to be a sounding board so that they, you know, are not always messaging me all the time in their first like 30 days with Pampered Chef.
Okay. All right, Kim, Manny, do you want to, you had a question for Steve?
Yeah, so I was just kind of on that same line of the onboarding, like, you know, did you do it in groups or individually, but then also like, how do you schedule those calls? Are they during the day, evening, or just depends on each consultant?
Yeah, so it's when I have 2 consultants that sign up, I put them in a group message with me, and like if it wasn't me that signed them up and it was somebody on my personal team, then we'll all be on it together. And then what I'll do is I will send them, I use Calendly for all my scheduling. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but Calendly basically, it blocks off the time that I'm available. So then I tell the 2 new consultants, I say, you know, talk to one another and figure out a time that works best for your first call. And you know, and then, you know, we'll have the first call and then I'll send to the group message. Okay, great. It was so great to talk to you guys. Go ahead and get that second call scheduled using the same link for, you know, within 48 hours or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Amy Gibson. Amy, was that your question? Yes, Steve, I didn't.
Yeah, I had wanted to ask him, I didn't hear specifically, but when you're doing that many parties, Steve, are you grouping them together like a mega show, or are you setting up 41 individual parties and working 41 individual parties?
Yeah, I set them up. Well, again, I set 10 of them up a week. So my host coaching, which I'll share the document with you for, is like on Tuesday, that's when I do all my setting up of everything. So that's when I set up all my groups. That's when I set up all the parties in the back end. Like I know some people will set up like a party on the back end when it's booked. That's too much for me to see. Like I don't want to look at all that. I want to look at in real time what I'm dealing with in terms of shows. So I will only set up 10, I'll set them up each week as part of my process. So like on Tuesday, in whatever time, you know, I decide, that's when I say, okay, I'm going to set up all my groups and set up all the parties in the back end.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Crystal.
Okay, sorry. You talked about surveying your hosts and guests after the party. So do you do that as a Google form? Do you do that individually, group chat? What do you do?
Yeah, so what I should probably go to a Google form, but I just think that's less personal. I like the idea again of the relationship and the connecting, but I pick 5 people and I include the host in the group. So it's the host, and then it is it's usually I average about 3 bookings a party. So I will put all of those 3 people that booked a party in as a part of this focus group is what I call it. And then 2 of them are people that spent $75 or more in the party because they're obviously invested in the product. So they're going to be willing to share feedback about it. They probably bought it for years. So what I do is obviously the people that booked were already friends and I can message them and they're going to see it because, you know, it's not going to go to that weird folder, that message request folder. The other 2 people, I will have the host put us in a group message and I'll tell them, I would love for you to be a part of this focus group. I'll be asking you just a few questions to help me do my job better. And then I tell them they'll be entered to win a free gift if they participate. So, because here's the thing, right? They've already ordered, so I'm not paying for extra shipping. And the other folks who have booked a party, if they didn't order in the party, then I can add the gift to their order when they have their party, if they win. So then in the group message, what I send when I put them all in one is I ask them questions like I think I mentioned before. Did I offer enough information about the business opportunity? What did you see what did you see too much of? What did you not see enough of? How was the party too long? And I found out some really awesome things from this. Like one of them was like, why don't you include any information about replacement parts? Since I have included information about replacement parts, I sell about $140 to $160, $140 to $180 in replacement parts every part, in a wave of parties each week. And here's the thing, guys. Some of those people don't want new stuff. They just want what they have that's old to feel new again. So if I can show them one post about replacement parts and that's an extra $140 that I'm getting on commission on, why am I not going to try that out? And again, am I going to look at it over the course of a couple months and say, is it actually giving me an ROI? Sure. If it's not, bye. Nice idea, but I'm not going to use it, right? I've also found out, so I don't do a power tool day. I know everyone's like, oh, I don't do a power tool day, because the feedback I got from the customers in this group is that we can't justify to our partner, spouse, whatever, spending $160 on a rock crock or something in an online party that maybe we haven't felt or touched or whatever. But I can make the case to my partner or husband or whatever that I got 16 things for $160. Right, so I got rid of the power tool day, and that's why I added in a gadget day that has things all the way from $10 all the way up to, whatever. And what does that do? That improves my number of items ordered by each customer per party. That include, some of those things, bump up the average sale for my show, right? So things that I might not have showed because I was like, well, $10 things. If they only want to spend $10, they're gonna know to go to the $10 and under section. They don't know that. If I don't show them there's an area of $10 and under, that's again that person that maybe can't spend a lot, but they're going to pick out 4 things for $10 each. That's another $40 I can get in commission on. I'm okay with that. I wouldn't have had it before, So there are all these things that I'll ask them, to try to figure out, and I'm constantly doing this, right? I usually do it. I don't do it like every month, but I usually will do it a quarter. In terms of really overhauling everything and looking at at all my numbers just to see what's happening. But again, I would encourage you to definitely become a data person, because you might be doing things now that are not getting you anywhere.
All right, Gail Jacobus.
Sorry, I wanted to find out, do you have some magic words for those consultants who have a little trouble getting virtual parties on their calendar?
Yeah, so I have, so one of the other ways to book parties other than green dotting is something that I came up with the idea, but I'm sure other people were doing it, but it's called, it's not a good name either. It's called the Host Booking Challenge. So what I do is I challenge my host to book 3 shows for me from every party. And if you're doing the host coaching where they feel invested in and supported by you, they are going to work for you and they will do this. So in the middle of the party, and this is just a way for your consultants to get parties booked from parties, because how many times have you heard a consultant say, I can't get out of my immediate friend zone. I can't get, I'm done. I'm oversaturated, blah, blah, blah. So what I do is I challenge the host. I have all this language I can share. I challenge the host in the middle of the party. I say to the host, private message, hey, Gail, I just wanted to reach out to you. Normally, my hosts book me 3 parties from every show, and I was wondering if you'd be willing to be a member of that awesomeness, or whatever the words are. I can't think of it now. Then I would say, all you have to do is pick 5 people that you think would be great hosts like you. Again, you're amazing. You're an amazing host. Great friends like you, and you will put them in a group message, a private group message with me and you, and I will send you the language to use to send them. So it's literally copying and pasting. And then I recommend the 5 people, because I'm looking at the people in the party and I'm saying, okay, Mary was engaged and she's all the way in California. Sandra's all the way up in Nebraska and she was engaged. I'm pulling people from all across the US so that I'm constantly growing my base and people to book parties from. And then I also say, if you're willing to do this, when you book me 3 parties, you'll get a free gift added to your order on me, and you'll get an item or set half price at all of the parties that you book for me. And here's the thing, I don't tell them that I'm not paying for it. So they think, wow, Steve is so generous. If I just help him grow his calendar, he's going to give me any one item or set that I want at all of those parties at half off, right? It's a Pampered Chef benefit. In the moment, those hosts are so focused on what they're getting now, they're not flipping to the back of that catalog to see that what they're going to get in the future. So you want to utilize what Pampered Chef offers. So this is how I'm booked. I'm booked through the end of February because of the challenge. So that's a way for folks to also get parties other than green dotting. But I also have a document that has some language to overcome objections. So again, some people they can't pack the words to be able to respond, and they say, okay, well, the so-and-so doesn't want to do a party, versus coming at it, with a, well, I understand what you're saying. And, so I have a document that I can share too, that has some ways to respond to people that are, either on the fence or don't want to do it.
That'd be great.
Add-on question to that, Steve. When you have them do the host challenge and they say, oh yeah, I'll totally do the host challenge, and then they don't put you in the 3-way chat.
I say, okay, so if you want to actually earn the free gift, and if you want to get the feature item half off, you need to resend all of those messages and say, just kidding, I forgot to include my consultant, and then add me in. Guys, you cannot be afraid to do those kind of things. I know it might be uncomfortable, right? And maybe everybody's personality obviously is not like mine, but you'd be surprised going out of your comfort zone, the things what comes back to you just by giving it a shot.
Great. Okay. Thanks, Steve. Debbie, we got just a few more, Steve. Debbie Lyerly. Hold on, you're on mute. Go ahead.
All right, I was going to ask Steve about his posting, as far as, does he group post together, and what time does he do his post?
Sure, yeah, this is another home office no-no, but just going to keep it real. I do 16 posts a day, 4 at 8 a.m., like 8, 8:01, 8:02, 8:03, because batch posting is something that Facebook allows now, because they're eating breakfast at the table and they're checking social media. I do 4 posts at noon, because if they're working and they can't be on their phone during the day, they're going to check it at lunch. I do 4 posts at 5 o'clock, because when they get out of work where they can't have their phone, they're going to be sitting in their car checking social media before they leave work. And then 4 posts at 9 o'clock before they go to bed, because they're checking their phone, and I want them to be thinking about me and Pampered Chef while they're sleeping, which just sounds creepy, but it's subliminal again. And what I make sure I do is, in the first 2 days of the pre-party, I tell the guests in a post, I'm going to be posting a lot, and this is why. Because if I don't, you're going to miss out on all these awesome products that I have to show. And I show them how to unfollow seeing the posts if they want to do that. It's not ideal, right? But I do something in the very end of the party, the day before, where I go through the entire party and I tag all the people in individual comments who haven't ordered yet but have commented on posts. And I tell them, hey, Gail, just 2 more days to order to support Donna. Party ends at 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, and here's the link. So many people are like, oh my gosh, thanks for reminding me, because they wanted to unfollow it. They didn't want to see all the posts, and that's okay. In the end, do I want you to be engaged? Of course I do. In the end, if you aren't and you order, you get what you want, I get what I want, the host gets what they want, everybody's happy.
Okay, great. All right, Karen Kress.
Yes, Steve. First of all, thank you, and I love your style. I love your boldness. My question is, you host coach in a group, correct? Like, say you have 10 parties, you do all of those 10 hosts in a group, and you run like contests, correct? That's what I'm doing, and it really paid off for me. Is that what you do?
So I don't do a contest anymore. I do tell them that the more they engage and comment, and the more they're going to earn. I say that. I don't do a gift anymore. But the only time I put them in a group is the first day of the pre-party, because that's when I'm sending them, like when the posting starts. Otherwise, I'm working with the host individually, because that's where you create the relationships where they feel that you're invested in them and that you want the party to be great so that they're willing to work for you. Because otherwise, if you dump them in a group too soon with other people, they feel like, I see your head, you get it. They feel like a transaction and not a relationship. And then they're not going to do anything you say. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks. Last two questions. Heather Cooney.
Yeah, so the members that's in the party that are engaging and everything, do you add them to your Facebook pages or to your personal Facebook page, or do you just rely on the comment that you do in the post telling them that you're sending them a message, hoping that they see that you have sent them a message? Since most time, if you're not friends, it goes to that little folder that they have to search for.
Yeah, to me, I think friending, and this is me again, to me, I think friending them without having any sort of discussion or chat at all with them is a little presumptuous, because I'm already a big personality anyway. I don't even mean in a good way. I'm just a big personality, right? So when I'm engaging with them, it's already a lot. And so I feel like if I friend request them, that's a little presumptuous, then it's almost harder to ask them to have a conversation with them that's not transactional, because then it's like, oh, he friended me, probably wants me to book a party or blah, 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 versus here's this guy just messaging me. He just, we're just chatting. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, last question for Carolyn.
Yeah, I hope you didn't cover this at the beginning because I was running late, but you do all this stuff virtually, but do you mail them any catalogs? Do you do anything in the mail to your host? And if you do, what do you send them? You send nothing.
I will ask them if they are, I will tell them that most successful hosts will secure some outside orders from people maybe at work who they aren't friends with on Facebook, because some people don't like to be friends with your colleagues on Facebook normally, or maybe family members that don't use the internet or whatever. And if and so I encourage that, and I say I'm happy to send you some catalogs if you are willing to do that. But if you aren't, then I'm not going to send the catalogs, because why would I send them if they're just going to sit on somebody's table and they're not going to use them? So I do everything in Messenger because they booked an online party for a reason. They don't want all the paper. They don't want all that stuff. That's my and again, I asked this, when the party ends, you know what I mean? So I not only do the group message, focus group thing for my some guests from the party, but I'll also have all of the hosts at the end of it that are already in a group message that have been sent the daily post. I will ask them about those kinds of questions I mentioned to get their feedback. What did you not see enough of? What would you like to see more of? Did I share enough about the business? Da, 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 da.
Okay.
Would you have liked a packet with would you have liked a packet full of catalogs and things to prepare you for hosting, et cetera? And overwhelmingly, they say they don't want it. They don't want it. So again, I'm like the redheaded stepchild. I do a lot of things that are probably but that's how it's been for me. So
yeah. Well, I always wonder if that's just sitting on their desk somewhere getting piled on top of it, because everything's online now and they can go through the online and actually flip pages. So
yeah,
it's a lot of expense to buy catalogs and ship them.
Yep.
Well, Steve, thank you so much. Obviously, your big personality has been a wonderful part of your success. And you obviously have a big heart, too, that you came on and you shared all of your success strategies with us. So thank you so much to Janine and for having Steve, inviting Steve as our guest. And Steve, again, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time, and we'll look forward to getting those documents from you. If you want to just send them to Janine, and then we'll disperse them from there. That would be awesome.
Sure.
So Merry Christmas to you. Everybody else, if we have just about 5 more minutes, if you'll stay with me, that would be great. So that was wonderful. Wasn't that great information?
Yes, thank you, Steve.
Yeah, it was perfect. Perfect. Again, thanks so much, Janine. Okay, so like I said, we just have about 5 more minutes, some things that I want to talk about with all of you. Our future leaders, please feel free to stay with us, because some of the numbers and things that I'm going to share, you definitely can impact these numbers. You are, our future our growth, and we look forward to seeing lots of great things happening. So first of all, I want to share with you some numbers and what we'll be looking at, results from 2018. Because everyone see my screen? Just someone raised their hand. So thank you, Carolyn. I know Carolyn's always my techie person who watches for me. So okay, so 2018 results. New consultants, we added 668 new team members. That was up 6.9% from last year. So that was awesome. Congratulations on that. We're looking at, now these, so that if you may be new to these numbers, I only get numbers first through third generation. So if you are in my fourth, fifth, or sixth generation, unfortunately, they're not reflective of your numbers, though we do appreciate, you know, everything that you do. So our consultant end count in November was 963. So that means we technically have 963 team members. Unfortunately, only 427 of them were active, meaning they submitted sales, you know, in November. We have 45 directors and 38 of them were paid as title, okay? So our sales to date are $4,368,000, which means we are down 8.4% from last year. Now, a lot of things could contribute to that. You know, partially we could say, you know, we could talk about .com, but we know we're going to make those .com orders ours. And I hope that you all have been as diligent as capturing that information that home office is sending to you on those .com orders, and work hard to make them your customers. People are just doing what they think they should do, is go to Pampered Chef's website and place orders, okay? So it's up to us to create that relationship, what Steve was talking about. It's about, yeah, look at those numbers that they give you and then create that relationship with that customer, okay? And I know you've had a lot of conversation about it. I'd love it if you have any additional ideas of ways that you are reaching out to those .com people, go ahead and put that on the director page. That would be awesome. Okay. All right. So here's our 2019 goals. I have this number of 800 new team members. That would be a 20% increase, you know, over last year. Okay. Also a 15% increase in sales. And I really, really believe that that could happen. Because what we'll be doing is working really closely on onboarding those new consultants. Steve shared some great ideas, and I don't know about you, but he made it seem so simple for a person who is doing so much with the virtual business. And one of the reasons we asked Steve to join us is because if you haven't embraced the virtual business, you are leaving so much on the table. So I really encourage you to, you know, find a partner within the group to, you know, work closer to engage, you know, having more more virtual business, okay? And also our last goal is to have all directors paid at their level every month, okay? Every month is our goal to do that. Okay, now one of the things you're thinking, oh, Donna, you know, they have so much going on, and what's exciting? First of all, you really want to be encouraging your consultants to finish up this year strong, okay? You have 2 more weeks. You want them to that sweet spot of earning that at the $1,500 sellathon level, okay? I know what the product is. I would love to tell you what the product is. I can't tell you what the product is, but I'm gonna tell you you're gonna want the product, okay? It's just like the Quick Cooker. We wanted to tell you about the Quick Cooker, and you know what? It's exciting. So make sure that you have everybody on board with that. Here's some stats that Tracy shared with us on our last national call. So the Instapot has been in the market since 2010. And even though we thought, gosh, we feel a little behind on that, it's not the case, okay? The demand for it has continued to grow. And anyone that knows Pampered Chef is when Pampered Chef puts something out, we put out the best product ever, okay? So an example is 15 million Instant Pots were sold in 2018. That's only 10% of the US households, okay? And, you know, a top reason people don't use that Instant Pot, which you've probably heard some comments from people, oh, I never use mine, is because they don't know how to use it. So one of the things that you should be doing and encouraging your teams to do is hold a quick cooker class. Not about selling the quick cooker, showing them how to use their quick cooker / Instant Pot, whatever they have, okay? So people that are curious about the Instant Pot craze / our quick cooker, they're gonna come and get excited about the possibilities with it, okay? So through the first season with our quick cooker, 25% of our hosts included the quick cooker as part of their order. 25%. That's a really awesome number, okay? So the quick cooker, as I said, it's already, helping consultants to get bookings for their recruits, but as leaders, share, some of the positive threads on Director Success with your teams about what people are doing with the quick cooker, okay? So that is one really important thing, okay? All right, so moving off of that topic, home office, they will be implementing a Lead and Lead Plus program next year for those people who have not participated in Lead or Lead Plus in the past, okay? So those are gonna be the first people that are invited. So sometimes there's always some question, well, I wasn't invited. Well, it's because they want to try to, envelop those people that have never participated before, okay? All right, so with that said, if you have been in Lead Plus or Lead Plus before and you're like, dang, I don't get to do it again, there's still opportunity for growth for you because Cindy, Janine, and Crystal and myself are going to be implementing what we're going to call it an upper level program. So whatever level you want to be at, if you want to go to advanced, if you want to go to senior, if you want to go to executive, we're going to be working with you to get you to that next level. But we're going to be really honest with you. It's going to be tough, just like Lead and Lead Plus. You don't get to just put a toe in. You have to jump in with both feet and say, yes, I am on board. I want to move my business to the next level, okay? So be watching for information on that. So what I'm really encouraging you is 2019 is make your decision. Make your choice. What is it that you really, really want out of your business? And we know that, we have so many opportunities. Yes, we are independent contractors, and yes, we have an amazing team that supports us, but every day as a leader, you have to make that choice to go to work, okay? You have to make that choice to make yourself a little bit better every day. And one of the many blessings and perks that we have with Pampered Chef is professional development. And I'll bet you if I did a raise of hands and said, how many of you have not used your professional development this year, I'd see a lot of hands go up. So I'm not going to put you out on that, put you in that place. But I did ask Kim Manning, who she is a person that is always first and foremost all about making herself a little bit better every day. And I asked Kim to just share some of the ways that she has done that. So Kim, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. So I've just gotten into personal development in probably the last 3 years or so. It started in January 2016 when I went on a retreat with Donna and some other directors that are on this call. And what I found was it was like the door that opened to me of what personal development could do for you. And it's completely changed my life. The last 3 years have been some of the best, but some of the worst. I've been through every mountaintop experience and every valley experience, I feel like, in the last 3 years. But without that piece of personal development, I think I don't even know where I would be. So things that have really helped me are finding podcasts. I love podcasts. It's something that's easy to listen to. They're free. And for me, it's built me up so much. Some of my favorites are the Ziglar Show, which is called the True Performance Show. Zig Ziglar, he's one of my very favorites. I've listened to Rory Vaden's The Action Catalyst, Hal Elrod has one on achieving your goals. Trying to think if those are the 3 top ones that I've listened to a lot. Oh, and Brian Buffini is another of my favorites. So those are really great. And like I said, they're free. You can listen to them anytime. I used to be someone who would turn on a TV when I was folding laundry or doing dishes, but now it's usually a podcast. Or my new favorite thing is Audible. I've not been a reader up until the last 3 years or so. I've started reading a lot more because I learned through leaders are readers, and I've really found that helps me a ton as well. And for me, it's been finding the time to read has been difficult. So once I started subscribing to Audible, I pay $15 a month. I can choose one free book every month, but I can listen to it over and over and over again. And so it's just gets those ideas in my head, and then kind of consistently hearing them over and over, it helps me to make those changes. So those are some things that for me, I've really benefited from. And like I said, if it wasn't for that learning how to do this professional development or personal development, I don't know where I'd be.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Kim. Okay, so I am going to leave you with the point is that it's not over yet. We still have, I know some of you on this call are still wrapping up, Amy Gibson just looking up at the ear, wrapping up your trips, just wrapping up, the end of the year. And also, we don't want our consultants to stop working just because the cutoff has happened. So Amy and our team, we put out some great, encouragement to our team. We did a 5 days after Christmas, some posts and some things that they can do for selling after Christmas. But I'm going to leave you with one video, because I really want to have this on our recording. But the next time I'll see many of you at retreats coming up. Dallas in January, we'll be in Tampa in February, and then we'll be in Tennessee in March. So everyone have great holidays. I want you to stay through the call and watch this video. It's just a 3-minute quick video, but I think that it's going to speak volumes to you. So again, I appreciate each and every one of you, and everyone have the safe and happy holidays. I love all of you.
And there was an idea that came out that I wanted to share with everybody, because we are approaching the end of the year. A new year is about to begin. And there's a danger with that. I'm always astonished by how people wait until a new year before they start making changes. Because it's like, well, there's only a month left of this year, so I'm going to write off this year. It's done. Whatever mistakes I've made, whatever I've achieved or not achieved, this is pretty much done, so let's focus on next year. I think of it more like boxing. In boxing, when there's 10 seconds left on a round, you hear a noise. You'll see a boxer all of a sudden start to throw a flurry of punches. Why? Because they know there's still the possibility that they can influence the judge's decision on that round. Boxers are scored round by round on who won that round. If I can throw enough punches and show enough activity that I'm not burnt out, I still have more energy to give, and I can throw some punches, do some damage in the last 10 seconds, I might still take this round. And the year has to be like that. You may feel like you didn't throw a lot of punches this year. Maybe you feel like you spent too much of your year not giving the right energy, not giving enough love, enough generosity, or not being proactive enough on your goals. But there's still 10 seconds left on the round. The year isn't done yet. Everyone watching this right now has 10 seconds left of the year. Let's imagine this video is that sound. Now is time for you to decide what to do with those 10 seconds. What are you going to do with the rest of the year? How are you going to capitalize on it? Because you can still influence the judge's decision right now. And I'm not just talking about how hard you're going to work for the rest of the year. Like, what fun are you going to bring to the rest of the year? What sense of joy or playfulness? How much love are you going to bring to the people around you? How much kindness, empathy, thoughtfulness? Are you going to have a difficult conversation that you've been putting off all year, but you're going to do it before the year is up? Maybe there's someone that you need to have a heart-to-heart with. Maybe there's someone you need to reconnect with. How will you make the final seconds in this round count? Because I promise you, if you do that, not only will this year, 2018, have counted, but you will go into 2019 with a completely different intensity as a result. Leave me a comment. How will you make the last 10 seconds of this round count?
Okay, so I'd love for you all to put in the comments of the director page of how you're going to make the last 10 seconds count. All right, everyone. Happy holidays. Take care. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome. Take care, everyone.
Bye.